This is how you do a paper LBO like a private equity associate. A full step-by-step guide where I explain everything, how I do everything, my thought process.
Let's just go through this step by step. We're starting with our purchase. We're gonna buy it at LTM EBITDA at what? 9 times LTM EBITDA. That's gonna be our year zero, although we don't know EBITDA yet. But we do know that that's what our TV is gonna be. It's going to be 9 times something. Can we get to revenue? Can we get to EBITDA? We can, but it's gonna be a bit of a process. Let's start with margin here. EBITDA margin. A margin, by the way, is a percentage of revenue. We have that in year 3 when we sell it, it's gonna be 40%. And it's gonna improve by 500 basis points every year, which means if we go backwards, right, we're losing 500 basis points every year. Like so. LTM at exit was $100 million of EBITDA, and that means that this is revenue. Basic math. It says that revenue is flat during the investment period, and we have this, so we can do this, okay? Keeping like basic math in mind. This is how that works out. And there's our TEV. So, what's our debt? Leverage is the investment was 4 times with the 10% cost of debt. What does that mean? If leverage is 4 times, that means you take LTM EBITDA times 4 in this case. For us, that means that what we need to put up in cash is going to be the rest. So debt is, the money that the lender gives us that we need to pay interest on, 10% interest. That's that cost of debt. We put up $12.5 million of cash. Cool. DNA percentage of EBITDA is 20%. Okay. Also here, just know your basic income statement. We'll come back here. Free cash flow. This formula, what this means is the cash left over after like our operations, what we're using up here, what we have left over to pay down debt. In theory, there's some other things you can use it for, but for leverage buyout, generally you're going to use it to pay down debt, whether that's up front or at the end. Here, we're not paying anything down, so we're actually just accumulating this. But let's look at the formula itself. So EBITDA less CapEx, less increase in net working capital, less interest, less taxes. And that's our free cash flow. Okay. Obviously, we add EBITDA. CapEx is like our investment in long-term assets. It's capitalized, which means it doesn't go directly on the income statement, but it does go on it affects cash, right? And then eventually it gets depreciated. So it's constant, -15. Increase in net working capital. So when you increase net working capital, I'll probably explain this in another video, and I have in short form videos. An increase in net working capital is going to be a decrease in cash flow and vice versa. I know it doesn't make any sense up front, but it does, and it's hard. I don't want to, try to explain that now, but I have a video I can point you to or make a follow-up video explaining how that works conceptually. So we know that like last year it was that, and so hopefully that makes sense. Like it decreases $5 million per year net working capital from that. That's our starting point. Interest, super easy here. All we do is we take our debt. We're not paying it down, so we just do that. That's gonna be our interest every period, and we'll lock it for Excel. Taxes is gonna be this. So you take your EBITDA, now it's EBITDA, now it's EBIT, now it's EBT, interest, earnings before taxes. And then you multiply that by your tax rate. So boom, subtract interest, subtract taxes. There we go. Hopefully this all makes sense. I'm gonna drag it over and then we can get our returns. Cool. Here's our exit. So same thing kinda, we start similarly. I'm just gonna do this because of that. So our EBITDA that we're selling as gonna be that. It's gonna be the same multiple. You know, no multiple expansion, obviously. Debt, we haven't paid down anything. But we do have some free cash flow. And we need to give that to the lenders, and we need to pay them fully back for their debt. I mean, it's not our money, right? So what are we gonna have left? We're gonna have our equity value. This is what is attributable to us. Okay? Cool. Now, how do we know if it's a good investment, quote unquote, in theory? First thing we look at is MOIC, which doesn't show us much, but it takes the cash we're leaving with divided by the cash we put into the business. And, you know, it's multiple on invested capital. It's great, but it doesn't take into consideration the time value of money. And that's important when you're investing a lot of people's money, right? It's like we need to make sure it's getting put to use well. IRR takes it into consideration. So you take MOIC to the power of 1 divided by the holding period, so the number of years. That's IRR, minus 1 to get a percentage. So this is going to be 30%. Generally, what we're looking for is anything, 31%, anything below, or anything above, 20%. That's like your kind of generally like required rate of return, 20%. So this is looking pretty good. I can comfortably say that I would recommend this investment, most likely. Hopefully that's helpful. If anyone wants, I can run through this quickly.
And now to put it all together, this is how quickly, I can do it like in Excel and a Mac. Obviously, during an interview, it'll be on paper, so practice your mental math.
Like the seasons shifting, our love held no more. Words once warm now shiver with every breath of cold. Promises start to wither as love's tale goes untold.